Okay, just... a while.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and since then I have done the basically lockdown, shave your hair off because there's nothing else to do. Um, but so welcome back to Silver and Steel, episode 4 now, a moral dilemma. Um, and so we'll talk about what happened last time, which I know is a few weeks ago now. So like I won't completely put you guys on the spot to tell me what happened. I'll help you through it. But basically tell me what not just you, but what your characters also remember as well. So we'll start with our Witcher, Rhiannon. Would you
Hi.
remember?
It me.
Yeah.
So after we had the whole thing in Addernet, was that the town?
I believe the town was called Brenna. It's a canon
Brenna?
Witcher. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
canon Witcher village.
Close.
It's fine.
Yeah, after that whole thing went down, we made our way off on the road, and I don't think we had any specific place we were traveling to right now. We just kind of like went.
Yeah, and you arrived. Sorry, yeah, you arrived at Brenna. Yeah, you were right with the other town name. The other town
Oh
was
yeah.
that one. But
Mhm.
I thought you meant the town you're in now, which is a village called Brenna.
Yeah. Yeah, after the whole stuff in Adonit happened, we arrived at Brenna, where consequently we got a job, basically.
Hmm.
Rhiannon met the village elder, who is an old friend of hers, and he was like, "Here we have some problems with some. I think he said monsters,
Yeah, there had
and
been attacks in the woods, and he wasn't sure what was killing
hmm,
people.
yeah, and because he's a friend, Rhiannon's like, yeah, okay, I can look into it for you.
Hmm.
And they were shown to some bodies that they recovered by an old lady whose name I do not remember, but she had a dog who was a very good boy.
Hmm.
It was a huntress.
Yeah,
I think that's
the
all we were
huntress.
given for their name was
Yeah,
huntress.
her name, sorry, is give me a second. She did have a name. It
Yeah.
was Greta,
Mm, yeah, Greta.
and her
And
dog was called Pike.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and she showed us the bodies, and um we divined from them that this whole thing is probably not a monster attack issue, but rather um, squirrel issue.
Hmm.
And then we went. She showed us into the woods to see where where they where the attack happened. Um, and we did indeed met some squirrels, and that's where we left off last time.
Hmm. Okay. Katrine, uh, what was important that happened to your character? What they picked up on, and such.
There we go. I unmuted the wrong button. Um, Katrin, on their way to Brenna, they crossed the battlefield and were attacked by some ghouls, I believe.
Yeah.
Some monster creatures. Katrin got hurt during that attack, and later when they reached Brenna, she patched herself up. I mean, there too, but then she yeah, you when they were basically Rhiannon and Maeve moved out into the woods. She stayed behind because she was like, I'm not feeling too hot. So why would I be trotting through the woods? And however, while they were away, the huntress, God damn it, you just said a name.
Greta.
Greta came to her and more or less was like, hey, yeah, maybe you can also come. Maybe they need your help.
Yeah.
And Katrin
Um.
agreed to go with her, and she's currently moving through the woods with her. Also,
Yeah.
Katrin made some plushies.
Yeah. She said she wanted to show you something.
Yeah,
That
she
she
wanted
had
to show
come
me
across
something.
in the woods. Okay. And Maeve, mage. Well, sorceress, mage.
Same difference.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, for one, when we were attacked, you forgot the most important part, which is that Maeve got dirty.
Yeah,
So
the very important part.
it's
That
the
dress
most
was
important
ruined.
part. It's right. No, it wasn't ruined. We got it cleaned,
Mhm.
but she did fall down and get gross. So when we arrived at the inn, she immediately got herself a nice bath, as she deserved. And after that, we went out investigating on. We went through, found the arrows in the body. Um, ended up and then ended up going and meeting with finding the Scoia'tael themselves too.
Mhm.
It's a bit pretty much everything else has been covered with the other two.
Yeah. This elf as well. The one who was kind of leading this group of archers. Just because I think it might have slipped you guys' mind because it did happen like towards the very end of the session. Is you overheard elder speech, which Maeve you instinctively could know and can translate. Um, it's that there were two voices. One in which the leader shouted to someone called Agley about the fact that there were people, you guys, intruding, and that it was people who were here. And they described you as a Vatican and a sorceress to this person, and the person who shouted back was a feminine voice um, that told her that told the leader, the male elf, to hold fire and not to hurt you. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we ended off. It was kind of implied that you would be able to help the elves in some way, and you were all kind of thinking, there's like a whole bigger picture going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we will pick up with. I will say we'll pick up with. Actually, we'll pick up with you guys. So, um, Rhiannon and Maeve. Um, and you heard these two voices calling to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and from out of the trees where you can kind of make out the elves hiding amongst the sort of covering of the foliage, there is a very tall elf. He's almost 6 foot tall, and all completely lean muscle. He steps into view. His bow is sort of, leveled at the ground. He hasn't actually like put the arrow away or anything. It's still notched just in case. But it's aimed at the ground. And his face is very angular and is painted and smoothed in with different shades of like almost body paint, camouflage. They're all blue, dark blues, grays, blacks, and brown, and a bit of green. And you can see how basically it's kind of like their uniform as well, like their armor, which also
Mm-hmm.
kind of blends into the trees. It's very typical Squirtle armor. Um, but instead of wearing like a cap with a squirrel tail on it that a lot of the Squirtle wear, he instead has a couple of belts that are sort of loosely sat down on his right hip. And from them hang a bunch of different colored squirrel tails. Um, Clearly, like signifying he's a leader of some sort, a very sort of accomplished Squirtle member. Um, and he nods his head at you, still holding his weapon, and says, Kedmil, Esia, Derin. And you know that Maeve to mean greetings. I'm Darren, his name.
Can I also glean that?
You can roll Elder Speech.
Sure thing.
So that's your
Yeah.
D10 intelligence and then plus.
Well, I do not have any points in Elder Speech, but I still rolled a 9, so that's a 19 in total.
Yeah. You also glean the same thing. Hello. He's
Nice.
Darren. And it's kind of, for you, it's like a little bit rusty, but like you managed to make it out. And he then switches to common. So for you guys that here, it would be sort of a mix of Nordling and common.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "I see you on no side here, Doin. Please, just leave us in peace."
Well, would if I could, but unfortunately there have been a few issues that I was tasked to investigate, and they led me to you and your people.
He says, and what issues are these that they would call in a Vatican?
Well, I am sure you are familiar with the village of that name that you just said earlier,
Brenna.
Brenna. Well, there are, unfortunately, there have been a few casualties amongst the townfolk, and the people there hired me to investigate the cause of their deaths, which they believe to maybe be a monster attack, but from my own investigation, I could glean that it was either your people or someone posing as your people who killed those villagers.
Mm. Um, he kind of just pauses for a moment and then says, puts his hand up. There's a little sort of signal with a hand, one hand, and says, Kem. And you see immediately, just like very military order kind of thing, all the bows drop immediately and very smoothly. That all the arrows are put back into quivers. Um, and he says, I am not looking for a fight, Vatican.
Well, neither are we. We just came to talk.
And he looks between you two and says, are either of you proficient in medicine?
Um,
That's my sheet.
Let me check my character sheet.
do I? Yeah, do I actually
So
have
first
anything?
aid, or if you have healing hands, which
Um,
you know, if you had a doctor with you, I think you'd have.
If only.
uh, no, I sadly am like I can patch myself up well
Hmm.
enough, but I
Yeah.
do not have any training in that regard. I would be able to make medical concoctions, but that's about it.
Maeve with her 4 in first aid. Just kind of. That's not what I was trained to do.
Yeah. He then is like very interested in what you've said, Rhiannon, and nods and says, "Come, uh, I will tell you all about it." And he leads you to this, as you know, as you approached what you saw when you first got here, which was this huge elven ruin, which you managed to discern, Maeve, that it had been here since before humans came to the continent. Um, so, some time after the elves arrived here. Um, you know very well the elvish history is very long, but the continent isn't actually theirs. They kind of came here, um, just like the humans did. Except the only difference is the elves, the dwarves, and the gnomes and the halflings at the time pretty much lived all together pretty happily and didn't seem to mind that the elves were here because the elves were very respectful and they negotiated all together on terms of land. Humans, however, came and they were the ones that decided they were going to conquer rather than work with everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, and so you can tell kind of from the style of like how some elven now ruins or now human cities are in style that this is kind of not exactly primitive but like early design, and it's kind of crumbling, falling apart, even though elven buildings are kind of designed to withstand the test of time. This has clearly seen battles and stuff, and considering there's a battlefield only so far from here, on your way to Brenna that you passed through, it's very reasonable that the woods itself was also some part of warfare at some point that has led to this ruin. Um, and he leads you to where it's not even really a door anymore. It's more like he's leaned wood up against where the door entrance is. and he pulls it aside uh, and says, "Agley, we have visitors." And inside, in this very sort of dim room, it's got some light coming in through like the arrow slit windows of this fortress. Um, but there's only one floor. The rest of the upper floors you can actually see all the way up through the like the turret, because it's no longer the floors above anymore. They've all sort of caved in. But this rubble has been moved aside, and on a bedroll next to some candles, which are providing a bit more light, is a very uncomfortable looking um, and distressed female elf who you know discern to be Agley. Um, and you can see the problem straight away. This elf is heavily pregnant, um, and clearly in like early signs of labor.
Hmm.
And he
Okay.
and yeah, Darren doesn't seem too phased by this. You can probably guess she's been in labor for a few hours now. And he immediately, goes over to her side, sits down, and holds her hand in his own, kind of providing some comfort to her. And he looks to you both and says, "This is Agley." And he gestures. He says, "Agley, this is the Vatgern and the sorceress. I did not ask for your names. I'm sorry."
I think we were told to identify ourselves in the last
Uh,
episode.
I think maybe,
I
but
think
Yes, we
so.
were.
But
yeah.
yeah, Rhiannon is just kind of like, she kind of bows a little awkwardly, and she's like, Rhiannon.
Maeve.
Uh, and um, she she seems a little bit not entirely like out of it exactly, but um, a little bit just
Preoccupied.
yeah, preoccupied. Otherwise preoccupied, yeah. Um, and he says, uh, well, she says, sorry, looking at you, Maeve. She kind of blinks and she says, an Anseed, and you know that to mean an elf or someone who is elven. It's like the formal name for your race, basically, in Elder speech. Uh, she seems a bit surprised and confused that there's an elf here who isn't a member of the Scoia'tael. And she uh, looks at Darren, and Darren immediately sort of takes over while she's sort of breathing through these contractions and such, and says, "She has been like this for a day." And he says, "I don't know what to do."
Rhiannon kind of like shuffles awkwardly in place, and she's like, I wasn't exactly trained to be a midwife as well.
That's fair. Um,
Us witches don't usually have to um deal with the whole pregnancy thing.
and he nods understandingly and he says, "Yes, witches are sterile, are they not?"
Yeah.
No word from the sorceress, who is
Yeah,
also
yeah,
the two
um,
people who are the worst people you could have
yeah,
asked to help
yeah.
with children.
The two people who cannot have children and therefore don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
um, but uh, you know, I do like to think though that like witches like during like witches school and stuff have to like sit down and have the really like awkward
The talk.
sex education talk
Mm-hmm.
at some point. Yeah. But he says, um, he's done everything he can basically to make her comfortable and such. Um, but he says this is why we've been so defensive. It was not
Mm.
our intention to kill any villagers, but we are Scoia'tael, and we do not belong anywhere. Um, and well, uh, You saw the battlefield, surely, on your way here.
We did,
Mhm.
yeah.
He says, we, and sort of gestures like out the door to where like you see the other elves who have now kind of come out the trees and are just sort of milling around this very makeshift camp. Um, he says, we are all that are left of our regiment.
Hmm. I do understand. I don't know if the villagers also do, but I I I can see why you've been defensive.
It shouldn't be too hard to get them to understand, though.
He shakes his head and says, "You do not understand. The village is in the hands of the Black Ones, and it is the Black Ones we run from.
Hmm.
There is a captain. His name is Eowyn, and we were fighting with him. He told us and promised us freedom and some of our lands back. And when we helped him remove the insurgent army of Nordlings, they, well, they turned around on us and slaughtered us all. We were a regiment of 200, and now there are only 16 of us left."
Rhiannon scoffs at that, and she says, "They do like their empty promises."
Yeah, he shakes his head and he says, "You think we would have learned from the first time?" And uh, you don't need to roll for history or anything on that, like to understand what he means. You both understand the implication of the elves, well, the Squirtle trusted the Nilfgaards before on like the first sort of Nilfgaardian war, and sided with the Nilfgaards because that they once again were promised freedom and lands back. And instead, what they got was um, basically they were kind of put into indebted servitude for a while, like while they were fighting in this army and treated less than people. And then, as soon as they'd served their purpose, essentially, the Nilfgaardian soldiers turned on them like that, and was slaughtered in mass numbers. This was the previous empress. This is not Emir var Emrys, who now sits on the throne.
Hmm.
Um, so Emir kind of has better relations with the Squirtle from what you've heard about him. Um, and he tends to keep his promises to the Squirtle. In fact, he's even given some land back to the Squirtle, but it's completely not out of like the realm of possibility that like a Nilfgaardian captain would easily turn on Squirtle like this.
Hmm.
It's happened before, and
Yeah.
it's now happened again.
Yeah. Well, I I definitely cannot help you with and she awkwardly gestures again. She's like, this whole situation.
I like
I
Agle, who's like trying to breathe through contractions on the floor. You're like,
Mhm.
this.
And she says, however, I know someone who might. Um, we are traveling with a rather accomplished medical professional, and I'm sure that she would be more than willing to assist you with this matter.
uh, he looks up at that, kind of a bit brighter in the face and says, "You have a Halen, truly." That is the Elven word for a healer. As you can see, I'm sprinkling in
Mhm.
the Elder speech I spent hours researching.
Yeah. Rhiannon is like a like in her head she's like a what? Oh, and she's like yes, indeed. She did not come with us because she got injured in a fight when we crossed the battlefield, but I'm sure she's well enough for to assist you when we get her here. If you would be willing to take her help.
He says she is in the village,
Yes.
and he pauses for a moment and says, "Okay, but I please don't tell the villagers we're here."
Sorry, Maeve will kind of look and say, if it makes you feel any better, I can stay back as a sign of good faith.
And he says, "Yes, yes, you are, and Cedar.
Mm-hmm.
We will, yes." And he's like, you can see that there's that kind of innate trust. You're an elf. He's an elf.
Yeah.
He will trust you.
Rhiannon gets ready to leave, but she turns around to him and she says, "I'm not sure that I can convince the villagers you're not here, because they have seen your arrows. At least one of them knows. So I don't know what to do about that yet, but maybe you and Maeve can work something out. I will return very soon."
And he says, "Then look on your path, Vatgan," which is, yeah, a nice thing, sentiment to say to a Witcher.
Mm.
Certainly nicer than you've had in a while.
They didn't give
Uh,
they didn't give Rhiannon the traditional goodbye of spitting at her.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to the elves, witches are tolerated.
mhm.
Um, yeah. So, but he does say, "Be careful, the Vatgan. Captain Aelwyn and some of his men stalk these woods. We have moved practically every other night."
Mm. I will. What did he say? The thing, the nice wish that he just told me.
Look on your path, Vatgan.
Okay, then Rhiannon will say, "I will keep my eyes on the path," and then she nods at him, and then she leaves.
Okay. And we will now cut now to Catherine, who is walking with Greta and her dog Pike, the big sort of Irish wolfhound dog. Um, and at the moment, you guys are moving through the woodland. Greta's walking slightly ahead, and she's holding these like branches and stuff out of your face, things like that. Telling you where to avoid stepping in a hunter's trap, and such. She hasn't really said much beyond just that she's trying to show you something, which is a little odd. But you can see she's actively trying to keep quiet.
Yeah, Catherine will follow her example, also trying to stay quiet,
Mm-hmm.
even though she probably isn't as proficient as the huntress at that.
Yeah. You can roll stealth.
Nope, that's.
So it's your dex and then plus your stealth.
Oh, it's actually not too bad. 14.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, you make a few noises, but like they're things that could easily be they could easily be passable to anybody who hears you, basically, because it's kind of like a cracking twig and a bit of a rustling leaves, and like it's the woods. There's going to be creatures in here that can also make those noises. It's not anything like they heard your talking or they heard you
Yeah.
breathing or anything. And you see Greta leads you with, instead of like talking, she seems to use a series of signs, like indicating things to you, such as the traps and things like that, and where to step and stuff. And she takes you to what is a sort of cliff edge, almost cliff edge. There's like a sort of rocky drop down, basically, to a lower level of the woods. And where she is, crouched behind these bushes, she parts them slightly, and points for you and her, basically, to both look. And as you do, in this lower level of the woods, there is kind of set against one of these little rock faces in the outcropping of rock and grass and dead leaves and such is a camp. And this camp, you notice immediately from the shields and the armor that these people are wearing are Nilfgaardian soldiers. And one of them appears to be not just a Nilfgaardian soldier, but somebody who was high rank in the Nilfgaardian army. He's wearing armor that's slightly more presentable and well looked after and stuff. He's got like a tabard and things on, uh, things that these other foot soldiers don't have.
Yeah.
Um, and he has a very nice blade. You recognize this kind of blade just from your past in working on battlefields and such. This is a very nice blade. It's a Vicovaro blade, which only sort of reaffirms that this is Nilfgaardian, basically. Even though Vicovaro likes to call themselves not Nilfgaardian, for anybody who's read the books, you'll remember Kay here. But yeah, Vicovaro is considered part of Nilfgaard. And they all seem to be discussing something in, elder speech. So, yeah. What would you like to do?
Catherine leans over to Greta and whispers to her, "Okay, there are enough guardian soldiers in these woods. Is this what you wanted to show me?"
She nods. She says, keeping her voice low, like, I do not know why they are here, but they have been here for 5 days now. We see
Were
them
they
sometimes from the village.
were they the ones that shot your friends?
No, they don't have bows or arrows with them. And you can see basically, yeah, they're all like shield and sword.
How many are there?
There is the sort of captain guy, and then there are 5 other foot soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do not know much about the war other than that causes many people to lose their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Too many men and their wars.
Yeah, and Greta just nods like, yeah, get that, I get that.
And she isn't like very great at like remembering like places and such. She doesn't have the tracking skills and such. And she turns to her and is like, "Did they always stay here? So it's like a permanent camp for them, or are they
No,
moving around?"
this they've been moving around a lot, I think, but they only appeared in the woods about a day after the battle. And she watches them a bit more. She says, "It's my theory that perhaps some of the Nordlings they were fighting escaped into the woods. I cannot think for
Could
any
be.
other reason."
Could be. Maybe the Nordlings shot the other villagers too.
She scoffs at that and she says, "The Nordling soldiers do not have such good shots."
Who knows? There's some master bowmen.
It's that episode of The Mandalorian where they're doing target practice and missing all the time. But with that, yeah. Um, yeah, she basically shakes her head and she says, "I don't know if this is anything to do with the with what's been going on in these woods, but I don't want them here. Not only are they, scaring away the deer, but no, these are our woods. This is Brenna's woods, not the black ones."
Katrin looks at her and is like, "You do realize I'm a doctor, not a soldier."
And she turns to you like, putting the bushes closed again, keeps her voice down, and says, "I am aware, but your friends, a sorceress and a witcher."
Like, maybe, I don't know. I can talk to them.
And she says, "I wouldn't. The only
Oh,
thing these men will listen to are."
I mean the Witcher
Oh.
and the Mage.
And she nods and says, "Good. I have heard that a witcher alone is worth 10 men."
Well, should probably head back.
She nods and she begins leading you back, sort of on the trail thing,
Yeah,
that
I
she,
follow her once
yeah,
more.
that she was going through. And in this time, Rhiannon, your character name just completely went, and I was like about to call you Nova, and I was like, wait, wait, that's not your character name. But yeah, Rhiannon, you are moving through the woods, and um, you know, since being told that there are the possibility of Nilfgaardian soldiers in these woods, and a Nilfgaardian captain, Captain Aelwyn, who clearly has it out for these elves,
Mm.
one of whom, is heavily pregnant and in labor, and clearly in need of help. Um, you're kind of, probably moving a little bit more tentatively than as you did
Mm-hmm.
on your way in.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping my head down. Um, uh, obscuring my tracks as well as I
Mhm.
move, so there's nothing like directly leading them to the elves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as you do so, make me it would be wilderness survival for anyone else, but Witcher senses check for you.
All right. Ooh, that's 10, 20, 25.
Okay. About 5 feet ahead of you. The trees are a little bit thicker there with, underbrush and stuff. Um, there is um, two distinct heartbeats, humanoid heartbeats, because they are much quicker than your own, which is only the quarter, amount of beats that a human heart is. And you hear low female voices, one that you recognize to be Catherine, and the other that kind of sounds familiar. You think it might be someone from the village.
Hmm.
Is there also a dog heartbeat?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the dog. Yes, there is a quicker heartbeat, and heavier breathing, and the pace of what sounds like an animal. Not heavy enough to be a horse. You can assume it's either a dog or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In that case, I will. Since it looks like they're hiding from something, I'm gonna sneak around the bushes and the trees, trying to make as little noise as possible, breaking through the underbrush, and like make myself known to them without startling them.
Okay. Um. uh. So both Greta and Catherine, you can make me awareness checks.
Awareness. 15.
Yeah, okay. Um, you're both kind of talking to each other, and then kind of like, in Guardians of the Galaxy where they turn around and suddenly like the characters there eating chips. Like that's what it's like, but Rhiannon. So you suddenly like see movement at the corner of your eye, like you didn't hear anything, and then all of a sudden Rhiannon's just stood there. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
She's
basically, this big tall looming witcher.
Well, she's kind of crouched down because I imagine the other two are also like kind of crouched down in the
Yeah.
bushes, and she just waves and it's like, "What are you doing here?"
Catherine like waves at her back, is thinking to herself, "What the hell? Are we bound by fate or what?" How did you find me in these woods completely at random? Rule of surprise. Yeah.
Rule of surprise. hmm
And she like turns around and says like in a low voice, Greta showed me a camp of Nerf Guardians over that way, and she nods in that way where she came from.
She everyone kind of shuffles between them, looks through the bushes, and like checks out the cam. Is like, ah, I heard about those.
Mhm.
And then she kind of shakes her head, but anyway, I need you. And she points at Catherine. We
She
have
looks around. Where's Maeve? Is she hurt?
no. She's fine. I guess. Yeah. I we there's something we need your expertise for.
All right.
And then
Did you
sorry, go ahead.
find? Did you find anything yet in
She
regards to what killed the villagers?
she looks at Maeve, and she kind of tries to like have her
Oh, Greta, sorry.
yeah oh yeah she looks at Katrine, that's it, and she tries to have kind of like her bag a little towards Greta, and she's like she doesn't say anything, and then she turns around to Greta, and she says, wait, does Greta know it's Elven, or like that
No.
it's elves? Okay, she doesn't. Okay, good.
She knows like it's arrows that killed
Hmm.
this other hunter, but she doesn't know like who fired them. At the minute, she thinks like that it's Nordlings that have like escaped into the woods from the battlefield. She
Hmm.
doesn't it's elves.
Okay. Yeah. Rhiannon turns around to Greta and she says, you should head back to the village. Don't let them see you.
This
don't talk to them at all if you can avoid it.
this whole time, Greta's kind of been stood there with like her hand over her mouth where she caught herself like before she screamed at seeing you suddenly appear. Um, and she still has her hand over her mouth. She nods. She grabs Pike's collar and she begins to like lead him her way. And you still see that she's still like freaked out by like the fright that you gave her. She's still got her hand over her mouth. Um, and is like leading Pike away.
Yeah, Rhiannon's just like, and then she turns back around to Katrine and she's like, let's go. And then she leads her back towards the elven camp.
Yeah, she follows her, and once they like reach a certain distance, okay, so what is this about?
Well, we found the elves, and everything's cool. Like we didn't get attacked or anything. But they have this thing there with a pregnant woman that are taken care of, and I'm not the best when it comes to that stuff, and apparently neither is Maeve. So
I can handle
you,
it.
yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
She says, and is like already going like through her stuff, through the various things she has that she can do to help.
Nice. Yeah. So what's up with those Nilfgaardians? And why were you there in the first place?
Greta wants them gone, and she was hoping that I could talk you and Maeve into getting rid of them for them. She thinks they're hunting Nordlings that escaped the battle, but apparently they're hunting
Elves.
the Scoia'tael.
Yeah.
Just get me to the pregnant woman, and we can figure out the rest from there. One after the other. This has priority now.
Hmm.
Is she already in labor?
she's in distress, is what I could tell. If I assume
Just lead
that
me to her. I'll
equals.
figure it out. As Catherine just rolls her eyes and is like,
He's like
"This Witcher."
distress, labor, both the same thing.
Okay. And as you begin to walk back towards this camp, we will cut to Maeve, who's
Hey, it's me.
having a delightful time with this heavily pregnant elven woman, who you've kind of been left with. Um,
I'm curious,
Day
actually. Yeah, like
Daren's
what's
Daren's kind of like gone to basically like scout around the area again.
how like what's the general noise level in this area?
The
Like how
general
loud?
noise level.
Like how loud, Jen?
It's pretty quiet. It's like general
Because
sort of woods sound.
Maeve does not know what to do in this situation, so her thought was, I can play a little bit of music. Maybe that'll make me feel better.
Okay. Yeah,
she, she
you sure could.
yeah. Then she'll pull out if she'll try and play it quietly. She pulls out her violin.
Yeah, I think it's a performance for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you could pull out your little violin.
When in doubt, perform
When
it
in
out.
doubt. When in doubt, play a ditty.
23.
Yeah.
Sorry, 24. But
Yeah, no. Yeah, you play a lovely song. Are you
it's probably also an Elven song too.
I was about to ask, is it like an
Her
Elven song?
this is a song she probably learned when she was a child. So yeah, it's definitely Elven. Not really sure what. Her family were entertainers before, so probably something a little more upbeat. Just because
Yeah.
sad don't work very good in this situation.
Yeah, she calms a bit. You see sort of a recognition in her eyes that maybe, this is kind of familiar to her, this song. And once you finish sort of playing, there's a moment of quiet, and she asks you, tell me, Maeve, how does an Ansida become a sorceress?
You can
It's not
see
common for our kind to go to the lodge of sorceresses.
kind of Maeve pause for a second and just like think about it. I just I guess I got lucky with being picked up from I started in I didn't start at the Lodge of Sorceresses. I started in Bernard, right? That's the one of it? I can never
Bernard,
remember.
yeah.
I can
Bernard,
never
yeah.
remember names because I am
Yeah, it's no
horrible with
no
them.
worries. The lodge is also called Aretusa, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was after my family were killed. Don't
Uh,
really like thinking about that much, if you understand.
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. She apologizes,
It's
for
all
hearing
right.
your family passed. And she yeah, she recognizes the name Bernard and Aretusa, so she just nods understandingly at this. And um yeah, is she basically for the most part is kind of like trying to like keep calm and breathe
Yeah.
through it.
And Maeve would try and talk with her as much as she could.
Mhm,
You know, she knows that talking helps a lot, calm people down. She's really good at talking, so
mhm. Yeah, that's fair. Um, and it's kind of one of those situations where you don't know the person like very well, so it's like very awkward, especially because like she's in labor. um,
yeah.
and the 5 minutes that it kind of takes for Rhiannon and Catherine to get there feel a bit more like 5 hours.
Probably Maeve would have asked, like, at one point, like, do you have a song you like? And ask if she would like to hear that. Probably, allowed to help around as much as she could.
She thinks for a moment, and she says, uh, one of the Nordling ones. What's it called? And she thinks, and she says, the Woven Storm, the one by Dandelion.
Maeve kind of just smiles a bit and nods. That I know.
Yeah.
So I crit on that one.
Oh,
Do I roll?
nice.
Do I roll again with that? With the I
Yeah,
rolled
if you want to. If you want
Okay.
to. If you
Let's-
really want to
let's-
show off.
Oh yeah, she's so. That'll be. I'm used to do. That'll be 35.
Nice, yeah. You play it so well that she thinks it's even better than like the time she had Dandelion play it. Bows. um, and for everyone watching, the Woven Storm is actually a song that you can listen to. It was paired in the third game, but it existed like in the books, that song, so you can listen to it on YouTube. And Nova, she's a mage and a bard, the worst kind of combination. Um, but pretty much like as you finish and start bowing, is when Rhiannon and Catherine arrive and appear in in the doorway on the way in. Yeah.
Have we heard the music as we approached the camp? Like in the camp before we came in?
Yeah, you definitely heard it. And you definitely recognized it as well. As a witcher, you've been to a lot of taverns. You
Mm.
recognize the Woven Storm when you hear it. That sort of sappy love song about Geralt of Rivia and Yennefer of Vengerberg, both of now whom are deceased.
Rhiannon is very exasperated. It's like, just like too quietly to herself. I'm glad I didn't stay.
I can just imagine Rhiannon trying to play music.
Do they react at all to Catherine being a human?
They do, but like you're also a healer and you're the only person they have. So it's kind of you get the feeling of almost like quiet resentment coming from these other elves. But from Agley herself, she's either too preoccupied to care or she just genuinely doesn't care.
Yeah, Rhiannon enters the building with Catri's like, there you go, do your doctoring.
Do your thing.
Catherine just shakes her head, and basically like plops down her backpack and just like goes through the things, start preparing, and checking up on the woman to like check how far she is and everything.
Yeah, you can do a first aid check.
I would actually like to know how much time I would have roughly.
Yeah, if you make your first aid check, like you can tell how much
Okay.
time you'll have.
Oop. That's a 23. Yep.
Okay. So you know that clearly she's in labor. She's having her contractions, her water's broken. Um, and checking her stomach. Everything seems to be fine. Uh, but it looks like you have maybe it's gone very quick, that maybe this is 30 minutes or less kind of time.
All right.
Things are on the move.
Chop.
Yeah, so as you're sort of assessing Agley, and Darren, comes in, sort of puts himself in front of, Rhiannon and Maeve to sit next to Agley and talk to her as, Catherine's doing her thing. Then Rhiannon can make me a Witcher senses check. Maeve, you can make me an awareness check.
Do, 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 do. 20.
Very top of intelligence.
Thank you. I saw it right as you said that.
Very top, yeah.
15.
Okay. both of you, as Katerina is sort of, preparing everything, towels and such, that you carry in your medical pack
Yeah.
and things like that, getting ready. You begin to hear um, uh, like the sound of clashing steel, whistling arrows, and voices outside.
Oh boy.
Some of them are speaking Elder speech, but Elven Elder speech that you've been hearing whilst with the Scoia'tael. The others are speaking Elder speech and Common, like a mix, and they have a very typical sort of Southern accent. This
Mm.
is Nilfgaardian Elder speech.
Rhiannon immediately looks at the door. She's like, "Oh fuck, Nilfgaard is here," and she gets
Yeah, Darren looks up at that.
she gets up. She looks at Darren's like, "We, it's okay, we got this," and then she heads out, hand on her on her sword.
Mm-hmm.
Maeve will kind of rise from where she was, put her instrument back in her bag, and just nod and follow after Rhiannon.
Okay. As you go outside, you see these foot soldiers have kind of whittled down the numbers of these elves already. Where there are 14 outside because there's two inside. There's 14 outside, and they've kind of now have been cut down to five. A
Oof.
lot of them had been taken out by arrows. This was clearly like a surprise attack,
Mm.
an ambush of sorts. And um, you see that there are, the 5 foot soldiers. Um, yeah, like not bows and arrows, like they're crossbow bolts is what I meant.
Sure.
Bolts. That's
I'm
that's
just
the
I'm
word.
just being a
Yeah.
shit to you. You
No,
know
no,
this.
it's fine. Like I knew what I meant, but yeah, it's bolts, crossbow bolts. These are, and 1 second, let me check my notes. Yeah, so there's only 5 elves left. There are now these 5 foot soldiers, and you have arrived just as Captain Eowyn has arrived. He is this imposing figure. He has now donned a helm, a typical Nilfgaardian helm with sort of winged sides and a big plumage of feathers, black feathers on top to match the rest of his black metal armor. Um, and yeah, what would you guys like to do?
Is there still like active fighting going on, or are they like?
Yeah, there's still active fighting. Yeah, these elves are locked to kind of in combat with these other 5 foot soldiers, which has kind of left Captain Elwyn with only you two really as targets, unless
Hmm.
he wishes to.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
um. Okay. As they, I don't know. Would would Rhiannon even try talking to them when they're already fighting?
You could try. It would have to be persuasion.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. Um.
Who
She.
probably could do this but won't is Maeve. Maeve definitely could talk him into that,
Mm-hmm.
but
She okay. She will at least like as we like approach the battle with sword in hand. Rhiannon will yell at them, and she's like, uh, yeah, she's like going at us like stop, as if maybe that helps.
Mhm.
do they stop?
Um, there's almost like a pause for a moment. The foot soldiers seem to kind of like falter upon seeing a witcher. You hear a few murmurs of Vatgan. Um, and the elves are kind of like taken back at like the sudden step back of a couple of these soldiers. And the Captain Elwyn shouts something in Elder speech, which you guys can translate as being to basically kill all these elves,
Hmm.
um, like leave no one alive, basically. And uh, he says, "I'll deal with the Vatican, the Witcher."
Hmm.
And he draws his sword And well, he begins approaching you, Rhiannon.
As soon as she sees that they're not, in fact, not stopping, she's just like, and she's still moving, and she looks at Maeve, and she says, "Protect them at all cost." And then she goes to approach the captain.
Okay.
All right. Exactly, Hera. So,
So, will everyone? Yeah, your initiative then is D10 plus your reflex.
Should I roll as well?
You
I mean,
can if you want to be in combat, but you don't have to.
Yeah, because
Right,
Katrin would look at the elven man that is with his partner, I assume,
Mm-hmm.
or Katrin assumes, and she says to him, "This might not be pretty, and either you stay and help here, or you go and help outside. Your choice."
Okay. And Rhiannon and Maeve, what did you get for your initiative?
17.
17.
Oh, you both got 17. We'll say who has the highest reflex.
Minus 10.
Yours is higher than mine. Mine's 8.
Okay, so
Damn, I have reflex of like 5 or so.
I mean, Hera, I have a crafting of 4, so.
Maeve.
Oh, I have a reflex of 7. I have reflex of 7. I'm not that bad off.
And let me just roll for the soldiers.
Yeah, I put-
Reflex is the fighting skill. I have to have then one high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to have high for dodging. I need to jump out of the way of shit.
And I believe they're on the next page, right? Yeah. Give me a second. The archers. Okay.
Tab, so
Okay.
excuse me.
Captain Elwin's first.
Oh, he's a fast boy.
Yeah, he takes his really good, very nice, fancy blade in one hand, and yeah, he's gonna try and basically just cut you down. But not in like a very sort of hack and slash way that you're kind of used to from like bandits and such. This is clearly someone who has swordsmanship as a very good skill of his. Like he's clearly well trained. Like, you know, he may be a noble, but like he's clearly got some sort of establishment to his rank.
Okay. I attempt to dodge his attack.
Okay. Yep.
24 is my dodge.
He got 25 and he's swordsman.
Wow.
Wow. That was cutting it close.
What a dick.
So that's 5.
Oh wait. I have luck points.
It's up to you whether you want to use it this early or save them.
Okay, for attack, he has to beat my roll, right? If it's the
Yeah.
same, then he fails?
Yeah.
Okay, then I am going to expend one of my luck points to just
wait,
ever
actually,
so.
let me check. If
I
it's
think
the same,
I think it was.
give me a second. If it's the same. If it's the same, I think it still counts as not. It's only like if you have to pass it, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
I think
It's if you pass it. If it's the same, that person still hits you, I think.
where is it? Hmm.
One minute, let me check my actual book.
Yeah, I'm also looking into the book right now.
believe it's in the GM side. No, it's not. It's in combat. Give me a second. Combat is page 148. I did know this the other day. Like, I read through the damn book.
Mm-hmm.
Got no excuse. Initiative, blah blah blah. Actions, speed, 2 rounds.
Yeah, there was some. I think it's actually in the skills section because it's a contested.
Okay, so
Okay.
man, contesting.
You compare this to the opponent. If the rolls are equal, the defender wins.
Oh, okay, right.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so you do that then.
Yeah. Okay. I guess one luck point to make his attack miss.
Okay. Okay, he's gonna spend a point of stamina to make a second attack on you then.
Okay.
So
Then
that is so it's 7 8. No, 7 plus 10.
okay.
Plus
Then I will expend 1 point of stamina to dodge a second time.
6. Okay. Be aware that you can't spend luck on this. You can only spend it once per round.
Yeah. Okay. This roll is a 10 plus 8 is 18 plus 5 is 23.
So I had what it was in my head and now it's gone. That's 25 to hit them.
God damn it.
At least you tried.
Mm-hmm.
That's 20 slashing damage.
Ooh, 20. Okay, I have
Damn.
to my
yeah,
torso, I assume.
Yeah, he aims for your torso, so you can use your armor from that to take the amount down.
Yeah, I have 11. My armor has 11 SP, so that would be 9.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 31 HP. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like, you know, he swings, you dodge the first time, and then he swings again as you're trying to dodge again, and just immediately, he kind of feints and then cuts into you. You know, it's kind of one of those, like, you weren't expecting him to actually have any swordsman skill at all, because a lot of captains tend to be kind of all talk, no real actual skill to go along with it. So it's kind of surprising when he does land a hit on you, and it does hurt. So it's now your turn, Rhiannon.
Okay. Yeah. Rhiannon snarls as the blade kind of like cuts into her side a little.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, yeah. She growls at him and she's like, you really don't want to do this. And she yeah, she moves one of her hands and she casts Axie on him.
Okay.
As a +4, so he has to make a stun save.
Okay.
And it's at a -4.
Okay.
No, wait. -1 plus 1 per 2 points, so -3.
Oh, -3. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the DC for it?
His stun thing is on his sheet usually.
Oh, right, yeah. So he got 10, 6 minus 3, 13. That's above his stun. Yeah, his stun is 6, so he passed.
Does he have to be above or below it?
He has to be above the stun save. You have to be above or make it. If
Okay.
it's below, then yeah.
Hmm.
Oh wow, we got a raid.
Oh yay! An Orient raided.
An Orient.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she
yeah.
she tries to like daze him with her oxy,
Yeah,
but
he
when
kind of blinks it off.
when she sees that that doesn't work, she's just like, ah, fuck, and then she uses one stamina to swing
Okay.
at him.
Okay.
Uh, no, wait,
He's
so
definitely gonna try and dodge it.
6. Okay,
That sounds like cowards talk to me.
and it's a heavy attack,
Mhm.
so it would do double damage if I hit.
Okay.
So, ooh, okay, that's a 10 plus 10, 25.
He got 27.
What the fuck? What a dick.
Oh wow! I've put an enemy in the witch is gonna struggle against.
The Witcher's like, this is bullshit. He's supposed to die now.
Yeah, he, surprisingly, manages to shake off your axie and then nimbly dodge out your
Hmm.
way. Considering he's got heavy armor on as well, like it's kind of surprising. That he's got this kind of light-footedness. It is now Maeve's turn. Maeve, there are these 5 elves fighting 5 sort of foot soldiers kind of in front of you. You'd have to get past them to go to Rhiannon if you wanted to get close, but yeah.
Um,
You see these elves are kind of slowly losing.
yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any angle I can take that I can fit? More or less, I should ask. Is there any angle I could get where I could fit multiple of the enemy without getting any of the elves in a 3-meter cone?
If you aimed in like a specific direction, you could get 3 of them, but not the other 2.
Yeah, then I'll do that. Then that's my
Okay.
best bet here. So
Yep.
that and my spellcast. Change my tab. Ooh, that's a 9 on that. So spellcasting 25. And for them to avoid it, dodge, block, or magical shield.
Okay, so fail 2. All 3 fail. So
Yeah, there's some fire. They're about to catch some fire. Not a lot. I mean, it's two. I mean, I say that, but 2d6. 6. 10 points of damage.
Yep.
And all 3 of them have a 50-50 chance to be lit on fire.
Oh damn. Okay. Give me a second. The first one is lit on fire. The second one is not.
Oh.
And the third one is also lit on fire. So like 2 of
Hey.
them begin screaming and burst
2 out
into
of 3 ain't
flames.
bad.
Yeah. And these elves suddenly look very surprised that the 2 of these soldiers they were fighting suddenly burst into flames. But it is now the elves' turns, and they get to. Oh, that is. Well, the first one hits one of these soldiers. Um, they shoot at one of these flaming ones and do 2, 3, 4, 18, 23 damage, which is reduced to 12 damage. So one of these ones that's on fire, he begins sort of flailing and screaming around, and then all of a sudden, like an arrow just goes straight through his neck. He drops dead. The second one, which is not on fire, one of these elves attacks him with using sort of like a long sword weapon, well, short sword weapon. It's a falchion, and that's a very good roll actually. Reflex plus swordsmanship. That's a 20. He fails. So that is 3d6. 5, 6, 7. He's still alive but very wounded. And the last one, they miss with theirs. So it's now these bandits' turns. There are only 4 left. One's incredibly injured. The one that's very injured is going to try essentially and escape the battlefield. So for his movement is able to run basically to the tree line. One that's on fire is still on fire, so that's his turn. It's just to burn. I assume he takes damage from that.
I don't really know. I'm checking right now what burning
Okay, if you check right
means.
now, and I'll do the other 2 bandits. One attacks one of the elves, and yeah, hits this elf with a longsword. So it's 2d6 plus 2. That's 7, 8, 9. That's 9 damage.
Sarah, just real quick, what kind of damage was it that I just got from the captain? Was that bludgeoning or
Slashing
piercing?
damage.
Ah, goddammit. Okay.
It's a sword. It's going to be slashing. It's kind of
Oh,
like
Thrusting.
D&D in that sense.
It could be
Um,
piercing damage, Sarah.
So that's no, that's more for like daggers, and things with spikes on. 9, 20 minus 4, 16. I am so terrible at maths. And the other one,
The weapons can have multiple damage types.
yeah, they
in-
can. It's just
I
the
think the
ones,
normal longsword
yeah, it's
has
just
multiple.
it's just the ones that you're asking about aren't piercing. Oh, drop my dice everywhere. 6 plus 4 plus 2. It's 12. 12 damage to that one. Yeah, so 2 of these elves are attacked by 2 of these bandits. It is now Captain Elwin's turn again.
There it is.
Um,
Sarah, I found out what
oh,
on
yep.
fire means.
Mhm.
It means that every turn you take 5 damage to every body location.
Okay.
Armor soaks the damage, but fire does 1 point of damage to armor and weapons every turn. To put out the
Okay.
fire, you must either pour water on yourself or stop, drop, and roll.
Okay. Turns is 5, 20, 5. Okay, so he's dead then. Yeah, that one who's screaming and burning is now dead. Also, if you hit someone with the flat of your blade, it's not bludgeoning damage, it's non-lethal damage. So I'm just answering Sophia in chat about that. So it's Captain Elwin's turn, and he's gonna basically try and cut the Witcher again. This guy really is brave, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
And I'm
Don't
gonna
worry,
attempt to dodge it again.
Okay.
I'd hope so.
17. Okay. He got 27.
23.
Okay, so he hits you.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Luckily at least your armor takes some of the damage, luckily.
Yeah.
And Witch's armor is pretty good. So
I don't even have that good of armor. That's just the
Also,
standard
at least
stuff.
it's not a critical wound.
Yeah, he
That's
goes
it too.
for your arm instead this time. Not your sword arm, your free arm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yep, so 8. That's 16 slashing damage.
Okay.
Yeah. It's now your turn, Rhiannon.
Ouch. Okay,
Ouch.
Rhiannon is not happy with this dude.
That's fair.
So, with the arm that she was just cut on, she kind of she makes a different sign, and I don't know what it looks like because I always forget. And she casts Erden.
Erden is just hand down to the ground.
Yeah, she kind of like throws it to the ground and like casts Erden as a vigor 4. So now he has a -4.
No, but you muted yourself.
Yeah.
She now has a
the dude has now a -4 to speed and reflex,
Okay.
so he has a harder time hitting
Dodge
and
this.
dodging her. And then she expends another point of stamina to slash at him.
Okay, he's gonna try and dodge though.
This time it's one of those quick attacks, so it's like 2 strikes.
So that's 10, 6, 16, 16 plus dodge escape. 24.
Is that with the -4?
Yeah, he rolled a 10.
Wow, okay. I rolled that's
Sarah, put down those horseshoes, please.
okay, I rolled a 6, which is a 21. And what did you say? 24, right?
24, yeah.
So would I have to
You can expend another point of stamina to hit him again. If you want.
yeah, no, I'm thinking about whether I want to use luck to actually hit
Oh,
him.
yeah, that's fair. No, you can use luck.
Does he no yeah. No, I'm gonna keep that. But yeah, it doesn't hit.
Okay. Then it's Maeve's turn. There's one of these soldiers that was burned but is running away. He's now reached like the trees. And there are 2 others which are unharmed and still fighting these elves.
First, Maeve will call to them and say, "You might want to just put down your weapons now." And
Yeah. They don't. They seem
All
to
right.
only really take that order from their captain.
So they've chosen death then. All right.
Death it is.
So I will use another wave of fire.
Mhm.
That is a 16, 21 for spell casting. And yeah, they need to dodge or.
Yeah, I'll roll together for that dodge. So that's 10 plus reflex, 20 plus dodge, 28.
Damn, they dodged.
Yeah,
Both of
they
them dodged it
dodged.
then. Jesus.
Yeah, they dodged.
Damn.
Anything else you want to do on your turn, Maeve?
I don't think I can really do anything else on my turn.
Okay. Then it's the elves' turns. One shoots an arrow at the bandit that's running away. That's a hit, so that is 46. That's 14 damage. Yeah, they shoot this arrow and it just goes clean through this this soldier's back, just straight through. He drops down dead. There are 2 left. One of the elves tries to hit one with a sword. That is a hit, and that's 3d6. 11, 14, 16, 14, so that's 6. Anything else you want to do on your turn, mate? All right, I know I'm British, but come on. The other one is gonna also shoot them with their longbow. That is also a hit. So that's 46.
Oh.
10, 12. That's 8. Okay, so there's 2 of these soldiers left. There's Captain Elwyn, and there are 5 of these elves left. I'll just roll the bandits. Those 2 are both going to attack, I think, just with. Well, one's going to attack with their sword, and one's going to attack with the hand crossbow. So the sword, damn, that's really good, actually. 16. Yeah, that elf got hit. So that is 2d6, 7 plus 2, 9. 9. What's 16 minus 9? That's 7. Um, and the other one also gets hit. 2d6 plus 2. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 6. Okay. So yeah, there's still 5 of these elves remaining, 2 of these soldiers, and Captain Elwyn. And it's now Captain Elwyn's turn. And he's still fighting you, our Witcher. So that is he's going to attack again. It's an 8 plus 10.
I'm gonna dodge again, of
3
course.
minus 4, 14. Plus swordsmanship, 14 plus 8. It's 22.
Okay, I have 10 plus 5 is 15 plus 7 is 22.
Yeah, so you pass.
Hey.
Yeah, you managed to dodge out of the way this time. He's gonna make us another stamina to try and hit again. Yeah, why not? It'll be fun. He's gonna try and hit again.
Okay, I'm try dodge again. I'm not taking any chances with this
That's
dude.
fair. So that's a 10 this time. So that's a crit.
Hmm.
So it's 10 plus 10.
Ooh.
So 10 plus reflex, which is 10. That's 20 minus 4, 16. Plus 7 because roll again because of the crit. It's 21 plus 8, 29.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I didn't dodge that.
Yeah, I just didn't.
No.
By how much did he beat you?
I rolled an 8, which is a 23 in total.
11 plus 6, 17 slashing damage.
Okay, so that's another 6
No, because
points.
it matters, right? By how much he beats you. Because if he beats you by 7 or more, he gets a critical hit on you.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Well,
Scary.
he beat me by 4.
Yeah,
Or like
you're fine.
5. Yeah.
You're safe for now.
For the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's 17 slashing damage.
17.
Oh, what did I say? Sorry. What was it?
Did you
Oh
say?
my god.
I think 16. Did you
Oh,
say?
16 then. Yeah, 16 slashing damage.
Okay. Yeah.
How dead are you?
I'm down to half hit points.
Oh wow! I would be dead after those 2 hits.
Armor.
It's
Armor
now your
does.
turn.
I'm Renan is panting, like has cuts everywhere. And I want to see, can I do anything? Okay, that would be I could try that. Okay, yeah, I want to make a special attack and try to disarm him.
Yeah.
That's a normal attack, and I think to defend against that he has to block. Oh, no, wait. He can use all his defenses as he wants to. Never mind. But yeah, he still gets his minus 10. And that's a fucking crit. Nice.
Nice.
So 10, and this is an 8. So 18 plus 10 is 28. Plus 5 is 33.
Yeah, he only got 25.
Nice. So that will knock his weapon away. It's like 1d6 1d6 divided by 2 meters in a random direction. So I rolled a 6, so that's 3 meters away. Just so his sword just goes flying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna spend some more stamina and attacking again.
Okay.
With that nice
his stamina then to dodge.
And this is a 9, which is a 24 to hit.
27 he got to dodge.
What a dick.
Back to his old ways of dodging.
Yep. And as he dodges, I'll say he moves in the direction of his sword. So he's like halfway to his sword at the minute. Maeve, it's now your turn. There are still 2 of these soldiers left who are fighting these elves.
Well, I said they chose death, so I'm gonna just keep giving them fire. I'm gonna give them
That's
another wave
valid.
of fire.
That's valid.
So that's a 10. So roll that again. 9. Jesus. So 19 plus 16.
Oof. That's 30, 40,
35.
55, yeah.
More or less dodge this, pretty much.
Yeah, they don't dodge. It doesn't matter. Yeah, they don't dodge because they only rolled like a 1. It's fine.
So they take 9 points of damage
Yep.
and 50-50 chance that they're lit on fire.
Well, you incinerate them, so yeah. You basically cook them in their own armor. And now that you've
Yeet.
finally finished focusing on these soldiers, you look up and you see Rhiannon clearly having quite a hard time with this captain.
All right.
And well, hard time is, you think hard time is in for a Witcher, which is just like they haven't killed them in like 1 hit basically. So it's like it's a
They
little
haven't
bit strange, but
insta-gibbed it.
yeah, but Rhiannon seems to have it like under control. Like she's disarmed this guy and stuff, and
Yeah.
is giving him a run for his money
Mm.
basically. The elves are gonna spend their turn actually like dropping out of combat because a few of them
Yeah.
are hurt. They're gonna try and basically get off the battlefield. Because Witcher's got it now. Witcher's gonna fix all this.
Look
And
after their
everything.
wounded or dying
Yeah.
comrades.
Yeah. And
How's
that
the baby
makes
going,
it.
by the way?
Yeah, I was just about to address that. This whole time, Darren's kind of been at Aglay's side. They've been talking in elder speech to each other. Before Darren kind of seems to make up his mind. Stands up and from like this one corner of the room, he takes up a very impressive looking war bow, which are these very like huge, very strong and tactile bows. And he drops the quiver that's at his like hip, and he picks up a different quiver, and inside you recognize these because you've dug them out many a soldier, as bodkin arrows, ones that basically sink into flesh and get stuck there. They're
Oh.
Yeah.
designed to hurt.
Fucking up.
And he's basically going to join combat, so he rolled pretty okay-ish.
Also, just a side note, how much speed does the captain have? Because he gets a -4 to speed.
He get speed is only really for like if he wants to move somewhere on his own.
Exactly, and you said he's like halfway to his sword.
Yeah. His speed is 6, so he's halfway to his sword.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
That's a massive. That's so
yeah,
slow.
he's 2. Yeah, he's 2 meters to his sword, and it's only 1 more meter away. So I only said halfway, just as like
Yeah, that makes sense.
instead of saying like 2/3, because that'd be weird. And Darren enters combat. Darren is just after Rhiannon is. So
Mhm, nice.
Elwyn, he gets to his sword, he picks it up, and he's gonna expend stamina to swing at you because like of how many actions, obviously. So he's gonna swing at you using his stamina.
I'm gonna
That is
dodge.
26.
Better not get killed.
I got a
Deadpan.
Yeah, I got a 23, so I'm gonna spend 3 luck to
Okay.
dodge his attack.
Yep. Yeah, he kind of just swings in with like a very vicious attack at you that makes you sort of stagger back.
Mm.
But you do manage to, dodge it just in time. Very, very close as well, because I'll say if that attack hit, well, basically from this description, you know what it would have done.
Mm-hmm.
It basically like swings past your face. It narrowly like misses your eye as you throw your head back to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's now your turn, Rhiannon.
It's- I'm getting really fed up with this dude, so I'm
That's
gonna.
valid. So am I, and I'm the one rolling for him.
Yeah.
It's fine. You have fire support now.
Mhm.
Literally.
So this is my turn. So can I use luck again on this turn?
No, it's every round. So
Round.
this
Okay.
is like the start of a new round.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna roll to tag, and it's a fucking crit. Nice.
Nice.
So I'm gonna roll again. Another fucking 0.
Oh,
So I'm gonna roll
Shame
another
crit.
time,
Mm-hmm.
shame the
and
crit.
that's a 1. Okay. So it's 20, 21, 31, 36. And
Yeah.
Dodge
I'm
this.
gonna
He,
I'm
he
gonna
does not dodge that. So.
I'm gonna make that a heavy attack. So it's minus
Mhm.
3. So
Yep.
it's 33. And please roll for him so I can see if I do a critical hit
Oh,
on him.
like yeah, he got.
Oh, you
five-
do. You do
Yeah.
critical hit.
Yeah, you
It's
critical hit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
by how much do you beat him?
Yeah, but how much
By
did
enough. It's by enough. Don't worry. It's like yeah.
Oh yeah, because then it's
Okay.
like bad
Multiple
critical
critical.
hit. Yeah, there's like different severities, but depending on how
Oh yeah,
bad
like
you
yeah.
hit them.
Yours
Yeah.
is just a critical hit. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 46 plus 4. Which is 6, 10, 12, 15 plus 4 is 19. 19 times 2 is 38.
Okay.
No, wait, did I say? No, I said 16. What did I say? I forgot.
Check your subtitles.
Oh, it didn't pick it up right. 36. 36 points of
Okay.
slashing damage, and it does have armor piercing, so
And
if
the
it's
bonus damage from the critical.
oh, I already oh
Yeah,
yeah,
already
right.
did. No, you already did that. I
Oh,
think.
no, the doubling was for it being heavy attack.
Oh right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what does a critical do?
The bonus damage is. I think it's a flat bonus.
Yeah, it's just a flat bonus.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Depending on how much you beat the defense, you get 3, 5, 8, or 10 extra damage on the attack.
I think with what you got, it's 3.
All right, so that would be
So plus 3.
39. 39 points of slashing damage.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry.
That's a lot of damage.
15,
Mm-hmm.
7.
That would I think that would literally one shot Maeve.
Okay. He's still standing.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
she's
you
she's
leave,
kind
you leave quite a heavy cut into his armor with her.
yeah, she kind of like dodges back from his attack and then brings the sword like across him, like across the chest.
Yeah. You rend his armor slightly. But like you can see that there's enough layers underneath that the damage isn't massive like it would be on just like an ordinary foot soldier. But it is enough to, knock him back for a moment. It's now Darren's turn. And
Did he
Darren,
beat me in initiative?
yeah, he did. Um,
Wow.
he,
So we 3 people rolled 18s. Jesus.
um, he rolled 1 second. Reflex plus archery 20.
His luck that I don't have any hangman's oil yet.
Yeah, he shoots an arrow, loses an arrow from this war bow, the sort of like loud noise the bowstring makes, sends this arrow flying through the air, and Captain Elwin kind of like sees it coming and sidesteps, and the arrow just kind of whistles past. It hits a tree, and where it hits the tree, like it sinks straight into like the tree trunk, and like bark just explodes around it. Yeah, it's clearly like a vicious bow. It's now Maeve's turn.
Yay!
And as you can plan out your magical attack. I'll quickly say, Katrine, where you're at with Agley is pretty much like yeah, like you're telling her, like when to breathe, when to push, etc. Going through it basically. You think the child could be here in about maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just
So,
doing my best to keep everything going. Ignore
valid.
the screams of
Yep.
men burning alive in their armor and sounds
Yeah.
of battle.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
and Maeve, it's your turn.
so I double critted in that one as well.
Yep.
45.
Yep. Give me a minute. So it's to dodge. That's a crit. That's a okay. $45.
Yep, 45.
Then he passes. He also got 45 because he crit.
Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I use a luck point here?
You can if you want. He can also use a luck point as well.
Ah,
It's
so
up to you.
annoying.
You
Of
can use a
course, you
luck
get the
point if you
double
want.
crit when I double crit.
Yeah, but this dice is being banished. Like,
Screw it. I haven't used any of my luck. I'm
let
gonna
me
use.
get my new D10.
It's
Any-
too good. The
Also,
dice is too good.
Yeah,
Just-
the dice is too good. I need a bad dice.
as a small side note, because
Mhm.
I crit and beat him by so far, he got a critical wound.
Okay.
And it's a simple one, but the important part
Yeah.
is he has to make a stun save because of
Oh,
getting
okay,
the
1
wound.
second.
Yeah, I was
Ooh.
also about to say that.
9. 4 minus 15. Yeah, he rolled over it. He got 15.
God dang it.
This over his stun. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm debating because luck points is just your luck stat, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can just expend as many as you want.
All right.
But that's all you get for that one day.
Yeah, I'll drop 2 luck points just.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Elwyn won't, so
All right.
What were you casting?
Ana.
yeah, so
Hmm.
he's got 45. You got 47.
Perfect. 4, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 damage, and I need you to also roll if he gets lit on fire.
Okay, what's
45% chance.
Oh, 45%.
75, sorry, it's not 45.
Okay. That's no, he didn't get lit on fire.
Oh,
No, he didn't.
luckiest man alive.
Yeah, Captain Elwyn, luckiest damn man alive.
Mhm. As
Yeah, like,
as the fire washes over him, Rhiannon just kind of like levels her sword at him, and she's like, "Seems like it's getting a little hot for you, Captain."
You hear him laugh, and you hear him say, "Good one, mutant."
oh, he really got you there.
Oh, he got you
Really
there.
roasted
Oh.
you.
Yeah, he's gonna roll to hit you again. Why do people's names keep going? Rhiannon. So that's a 10, so it's a crit. Plus 8,
Yeah.
18, minus 4, 14, plus 10. 24 plus 8, 32.
Oof. 32. I rolled. That's. I rolled 21.
Mm-hmm.
So E.
Okay. So he beat you by 7+, so that's a critical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3.
Damn it.
20.
First critical wound, though, of our group.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's 32 damage, slashing damage.
32?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Wounds. 159.
Okay, wait. 30, 32.
Yeah. Oof. This is.
Um, so minus my armor, he's doing. Wait, that's torso, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. He's doing 21 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
By how much did you get beat?
I have 20 left,
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
so
How
I'm
much
lit
did
You're
you get
down.
beat?
Okay.
7
So
plus.
that's only a simple wound. You're fine.
Yeah.
Simple critical wound. He swings this sword, hits you in the chest, and you feel the right hand side, your ribs basically crack.
Mm.
And immediately it begins to be painful to breathe. You take -2 to your body currently.
Mhm.
Your beautiful body.
I'm also at -1 hit points.
Oh, you go dump on the floor then too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just standing there, just oh wait, shit.
Yeah, it takes Rhiannon a moment to realize she should be unconscious. Yeah. Yeah, this
Oof.
yeah. It's now Darren's turn. Poop.
Poop.
Give me a minute for Darren. That's an 8 plus 6. 15.
It
Oh
was
my
it
god,
was it
fuck.
was his turn, right? And now it's my turn, so I have to make a death save.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just rolling Darren stuff up
Yeah, yeah.
in advance. Okay.
Okay. How do you make a stun save again?
Stun save is a D10, and then you add your stun to it, and then basically whatever you got.
I mean, I'm not sure it matters for you because you're like,
You have to get over basically what your stun stat is. So if your stun is 12, you have to get more than 12 if it's.
Okay, so I roll the d10 plus my stun, and that has to be okay. Okay, I passed. That's 16.
Cool. So you're still alive. You're just unconscious with cracked ribs and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me a second. So that's what thingy rolled. Aelwyn rolled 10 -2 -4. Sorry, that's 9. Okay, he doesn't pass. He doesn't pass.
Good.
He gets hit. He gets hit. With that, that is 4, 8, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So that's 66 from a warbow. 22. Yes. So he takes this bodkin arrow. It goes straight like through the hole in his armor. It's a very like specific targeted hit. It goes straight through the cut in his armor that Rhiannon made. It pierces through his chainmail and gives him an extremely grievous wound. He's basically on. He kind of stumbles, drops his sword slightly. Doesn't exactly lose grasp on it. It's kind of like now loosely held in his hand. He's sort of leaning against it more than swinging it. And you see this basically just blood spewing out of his chest. It's now Maeve. It's your turn.
My turn. Let's cauterize that. Yarr. That'll be a. I keep going to the wrong page. Where's my casting? There it is. 25.
Yeah, he got an 18.
Ooh, perfect.
So you beat him by 7, so you also get critical damage on top of that.
All right. 4, 10, 12, 16 plus critical damage, which is 3, right? So 19.
Yeah, 19.
So 19 points of fire damage and 75% chance he's lit on fire.
Yeah, he's lit on fire. Yeah, you basically set fire to him. You immediately see this blood just stop flowing. But he does die. The armor just overheats basically, and you begin to hear basically like the hissing of like cooking flesh. You can smell it as well in the air. As you concentrate basically all your anger and like all this magic onto this one specific man, you actually see his armor begins to melt. Um, and when you finally let the magic go, he is slumped on the floor. Um, yeah, just completely blistered all over, and his arm is still even glowing like a hot red color. And as you're now all out of initiative and combat, um, it's this sort of quiet falls over the whole battlefield now that the enemies are dead, and it's at that point that you hear the high-pitched wailing of a newborn baby.
Aw.
Hey.
And that's where we'll end it for this week.
Oh, great. One life for another, I guess.
Equivalent exchange.
Yep. I will say for anyone who's worrying, I won't make you make a death save at the start of the next session, Rhiannon. We'll say that you're okay.
So kind of you.
Yeah.
What's
I'm
the
right there. I'm right
Yeah,
there.
Katrine's right there. You're
I'm
safe.
right
You're
there.
good.
what's the
You're among friends.
Let me just
And
check if I
bathed.
can
yeah.
stabilize you. Oh no, that's the one.
No, it's fine. We won't have to make that roll until next session. It's fine.
Okay.
Let me stabilize.
worry.
Stabs with dagger. Oops.
Oh no, she's dead.
Stabilize.
You also said that I have a cracked rib, right?
Yes, you have cracked ribs. So you have at the moment you have -2 to body. When it's stabilized, it's -1 to body, and then when it's like treated for like a week or so, it's like reduced stamina, I think, or something like that for a
Negative
little
10
while.
Encumbrance.
Oh yes, that's
Encumbrance.
it. Encumbrance. That's it.
Encumbrance.
-10 encumbrance.
Oof, that was stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a stressful fight. Damn. That was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was nice to have an enemy that could actually hit a witcher for once.
Mm-hmm.
Not only hit the Witcher, kick the shit out of the Witcher.
Yeah, but kick the
Yeah.
damn shit out the witcher. It's all right. It's time for Rhiannon to have character growth.
I mean, to be fair, as I recall, so far, literally every enemy that I hit died in one turn. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked. Sorry, I was just looking at was randomly jumping for the to the deadly critical table, and the first thing I read, like at the very top of that thing, is separated spine / decapitated, and for stabilized and treated, it just says
You're
this
dead.
wound cannot be stabilized. This wound cannot be treated.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, that's it for them for this week. So
Yay.
everyone can like do your plugs and stuff. So we'll start with Nova,
okay. Hi,
our
I'm
dead
Nova.
witcher currently.
Yeah, I am not looking good. But yeah, you can mostly find me as Gift Nova Gaming on Twitter and as Gift Nova here on Twitch. I do my own like video game streams all week except for Saturdays and Wednesdays. And yeah, follow me on Twitter. I talk about all kinds of important stuff and also video games and all that shit. I'm loud and obnoxious, so You should follow that. And other than that, uh, join the Heroes Without Limits Discord. We
Yeah,
have a
there's a
nice little
link down in the thing. I can actually put the link in the chat. I'll do that now.
we have a nice little community that's steadily growing, and you should absolutely check it out.
Oh, wrong way around. I did the exclamation mark the wrong way around.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah. So, Vex, you next.
Well, you can find me at VexiXy on Twitter or on Twitch, where I do as well video game streaming as well as TTRPG streaming. Tonight at 9:30 p.m. EST, I will be running Ghost of Saltmarsh with Hera and
Nice.
the rest of my other group, where they're in a bit of a pickle. Pretty much, they got chased out of a house by a fear spell.
Oh dear.
Oh, we're back in the house. We're
Oh,
now
you're back in
dealing
this, and you have
with
friends.
with the
Now you have to deal with
spiders.
spiders.
Yeah.
Mm,
Or
This haunted house is
insects.
scary.
that's
Spiders.
that's better.
And yeah, it's Fractured Moon D&D on Twitch.
Okay. And Hera.
Yeah. That's basically it. I'm in everything that Vex is in, more or less. Yeah. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sarah and Mustang. I've been your game master today. I have to keep saying game master. I keep nearly saying dungeon master. I'm too used to that. But yes, or the Witcher manager, as I'm called in the Discord. Yeah, you can join the Heroes Without Limits Discord by following that link below. And also follow us on Twitter at H Without Limits. And you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Mustang's Art. You can find me talking about disability representation there in like D&D and all sorts of TTRPGs. I recently got a gig, a writing gig with a publisher. And you'll be hearing more about that on my Twitter as well. So like you'll be able to find out about that. I currently can't say anything because NDAs are fun like that. But like you'll hear announcements and things on Twitter, and I'll obviously retweet them and stuff. You can also check out the newest edition of Dragon Plus magazine, in which I was interviewed. And I talked about Heroes Without Limits, my experience as a disabled dungeon master, and how you can make your tables more accessible, more representative of disabled people in the community, and all of that. It's very interesting as well, and plenty of other people who also do disability work in the community also were interviewed with me. It's great, and it's a really good read, and I was very proud to have been, asked and honored to have been like a part of it. Um, and it's very funny because the picture that they used for me for some reason is a cosplay picture in which I have a wig
Nice.
on and I look nothing like me, but it's really funny. um, um, so yeah, you can find that, and also my pinned tweet is prosthetic uh, prosthetic mechanics for arms and legs for Witcher characters. If you've played the Witcher TTRPG or you plan to, and you want to play a Witcher who has a prosthetic arm or a prosthetic leg, prosthetic hand, prosthetic foot, you can kind of like, put it all sort of down to those mechanics. Basically, yeah, if you click on that link, it's a completely free PDF. You can download it, play with it, let me know what you think of it. So far, the response has been really good. It's also up on the r/Witcher TRPG subreddit as well, if you want to download it from there. Um, but yeah, basically, it's silver or meteorite steel prosthetics. You can play it how whichever rules you follow in the books, and you can also get upgrades for it. So you can punch a werewolf in the face with a silver prosthetic arm, and have knuckle dusters made out of silver to do extra damage when you
I
punch.
love it.
And there's also hidden blades for boots. There's one that replaces the foot of the prosthetic with talons that are like a griffin's talons. So if you want to like kick someone with that, it does a lot of damage. Yeah, and it also has like some extra stuff for your character sheet as well. It's got like your base arm or your base leg, depending on what you choose. And then it's also got like the layout of the slots, because each one has slots in, and different upgrades cost so many slots. But yeah, that's been really interesting. People have really enjoyed it. If you want to try and use it in your games, let me know how it goes. Let me know. Let me hear what your characters did with them, especially if they kick somebody's ass with them. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you next week for
Yeah.
episode 5.
Yay.
And there will be a newborn baby elf in the Scoil Bell.
Yay.
And a
Yay.
dead witcher.
And a dead witcher. No, not a
Also,
dead witcher, but
Sophia. Yes, if all the combats that we're gonna have are like this one, then I very well might get one.
yeah. Yeah, Nova has talked about wanting to use the prosthetic stuff. I also have another PDF that reminds me in the works, which is like role-playing disability in the world of The Witcher, and that will also be free and available on Twitter and on the subreddit as well. And you can download it, play it, let me know what you think of it, and about any characters you make with it. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.